Have you ever noticed that the most painful betrayals often do not come from enemies? They frequently come from the very person who was once closest to you. Just as when Judas betrayed Jesus, he chose of all things a kiss. He entered the Garden of Gethsemane, approached Jesus, and then kissed him. This is the most chilling aspect of the entire event. For in the Jewish culture of that time, a kiss was a symbol of intimate relationship. Thus, Judas betrayed Jesus using the very language of love. This is akin to the hierarchy of contempt we see today. In the eyes of many, those who openly oppose God are naturally perceived as dangerous. Yet the most terrifying position described in the Bible may well be this: being physically close to Jesus, yet never having truly surrendered to him. This constitutes the most ironic layer within the spiritual hierarchy of contempt. Some people know exactly how to project an air of piety in the presence of others. Yet, their hearts may never have been truly surrendered to God. Judas was precisely such a man. He had heard Jesus' greatest sermons. He had witnessed the blind receiving their sight, the lame walking, and the dead rising to life. He was close enough to Jesus to sit at the table during the Last Supper. However, physical proximity does not equate to surrender. Being close to Jesus does not mean belonging to Jesus. The terrifying reality regarding Judas is not that he lacked the opportunity to know Jesus. Rather, it is that he possessed so many opportunities, yet still withheld his heart. The Gospels record that Judas was entrusted with managing the group's funds. Yet John notes that he would frequently pilfer from the money bag. When Mary poured the costly ointment over Jesus' feet, Judas asked, "Why wasn't this ointment sold and the proceeds given to the poor?" The scriptures unsparingly expose his true inner motives. He was not concerned for the poor, he was concerned for the money. This constitutes the most perilous form of spiritual deception, as Jesus increasingly failed to resemble the Messiah he had envisioned. As Jesus failed to orchestrate a political uprising and failed to bestow upon him a position of status, Judas's heart began to turn away completely. And so he approached the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?" Ultimately, the price set upon Jesus was 30 pieces of silver. Under the Old Testament law, 30 pieces of silver was the compensation price for a slave gored to death by an ox. Judas transformed Jesus from Lord into a bargaining chip. Yet, what is even more profound is that Jesus did not turn away. Matthew records that Jesus said to Judas, "Friend, do what you have come to do." Jesus did not call him a traitor. Instead, he addressed him as friend. For right up to the very last moment, Jesus still left room for him to turn back. This, too, marks the greatest difference between Judas and Peter. On that night, Peter denied Jesus 3 times beside the fire. Yet, their ultimate fates were entirely different because the direction they took times after times their failure was different. Judas felt remorse. He confessed that he had betrayed innocent blood and threw the money back into the temple. His remorse led him down the path of despair. Peter's tears, however, ultimately led him back into the presence of the Lord. If remorse turns inward focus solely on oneself, it becomes self-condemnation and leads to death. But if remorse turns toward Jesus, it can become the beginning of restoration.